progress. Thank you.
The Honourable Ron Mark.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Well, I will not take up too much of the House's time. I just want to rise and endorse the comments in particular of the Honourable Michael Woodhouse when he highlighted the manner in which the committee went about its business in a very collegial manner. I've got to say, in my experience in the House, this is not uncommon, and I think we do need to sometimes just acknowledge that the select committees are the powerhouses and they are the work that gets done, and it's work such as this select committee has done, chaired by the very able and capable Louisa Wall, that has highlighted and brought to the attention of the Minister the 8 amendments that clearly made improvements to the bill, and have produced a piece of work that is going to enhance the well-being and the health of communities throughout New Zealand. We, I guess, particularly those of us who have been on local government, will never forget the very difficult times that were endured in Havelock North when Lawrence Yuill was the mayor at that time. I think he might have been MP, but it was he had been the mayor up there prior to that. Over 5,000 people fell ill, that it resulted in the deaths of 3 people. It was an incident of great significance and concern, hence the legislation, or hence the inquiry, and then from that, the legislation that we are now progressing through the House. I think we sometimes are a little blasé. I know when I'm out walking or running, I think nothing of dropping down into the Kaipatangata stream on my climb up to the top of Mount Dick, putting my water bottle in, filling it up, and quenching my thirst. And when I come back down from Mount Dick, I fill up that water bottle again and carry on without so much paying any attention or mind to what might be in the stream further up from where I filled my bottle.
What about the people who take the water further down from where you put your hands in?
And I think we do take for granted that we live pretty much in a safe land, in a safe country, and despite all of what we read in the papers about our dirty waterways, something that we aim to address, there are still places where we go around and we can take our water, but it sometimes takes us gives us a false sense of security that we are in this legislation removing requirements for the Ministry of Health to consult for 3 years and gazette changes for 2 years before making any changes to drinking water standards. I guess in itself says that the legislation was long overdue for a bit of a look-see and some amendments. Clarifying that water safety plans must include timetables to implement measures that mitigate risks to drinking water. All seems rather common sense, all seems quite logical. It's tragic that it has taken the deaths of 3 New Zealanders and over 5,000 people becoming ill to get us to focus our minds and our attention. I've got to say, over the weekend, at home we have our own private water supply, rainwater off the roof. I said in the first reading that my partner Christine got ill in the first month of us living there. We went under the house and found that there was only one filter, and it was a filter that you normally find on a swimming pool, and it was certainly inadequate. Christine was sick for quite some time. As a result, we installed a $2,500 filtration plant with a 20-micron filter, backed up with a 1-micron filter, backed up with ultraviolet. And I've got to tell you, that rainwater filtered in such a way is absolutely pristine and beautifully soft. And Christine has not been sick once since then. That's what we do, and we spend about $475 a year changing out filters and UV lamps. But that's what we do for ourselves to ensure that our water quality on our lifestyle block is safe for our grandchildren when they visit, safe for our whānau, safe for our guests, anybody who comes to our home, and who drinks. I've got to say, actually, that same water ends up being the water we water our roses in our gardens with. So even the gardens and the roses benefit from purified water. I do know when I was the Mayor of Carterton, we often had discussions and debates about the quality of water, and we had to acknowledge that over half of our people in our district had their own private water supplies, and sometimes we worried. This legislation pertains to public water supply, and I know the Minister has other work in progress, and we'll look forward to progressing that through the House. But I'll just conclude by congratulating the committee on excellent work, on very constructive amendments that have added to the quality of the legislation, and congratulate them particularly in the very collegial way in which they have worked through this legislation in committee. Thank you.
The Honourable Maggie Berry.
Mr. Speaker,